What's going on, everybody? Hey, we're happy to be here today to talk. Get rid of the daily politics. Get rid of what's going on in the news. We want to talk about what's going on in Detroit Lions Nation. All right, this is One Pride. This is the team. So you already know what's going on. So hey, we got a great panel today. We have a special guest, subscriber guest, right or wrong. If you haven't checked out his channel already, go ahead and go do that because he is pumping out the content. It's great content if you guys haven't done it already. But we're going to go to everybody on the panel. We're going to start off with the guy right next to me, JMO 313. JMO, heart of the city. What's going on, bro?
Oh, what's good, man? What's good, everybody? I'm excited to talk some Lions football today with all this craziness. We going to talk about what's going on with, like you said, with Lions Nation, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you like the video.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then right next to him, I hyped him up at the beginning of the show. Right or wrong, what's going on, man? Good to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. Ready to have a fantastic show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next is my partner in crime, my best friend, my brother, Andrew. What's going on, bro?
Yo, what's up, man? I'm excited to be here. And, we're towards the end of the work week, so I am happy as can be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then next we have, the people have ordained her queen of the den. I don't know how she got that title already because, she's still pretty new. But Rachel, what's going on?
What's up, guys? I know. I'm like, that's the title. You guys are the best because as soon as I put that in my Twitter bio, I was like, okay, I'm feeling that.
When the queen speaks, we all listen.
There we go. Luke, why don't you say what's up to the people in the chat, man?
Hey, man, salute to everybody out there, man. Welcome to the show. Let's talk some football and enjoy the talk of football, people. Just enjoy the talk of football. I'm ready. I'm stoked. Let's get it, Andrew. Unless I call you Andrew, look, real disregard that. I told you. Look, I'm going to show you how crazy this is. The first email I get when I punch back in said I have to call somebody with the name Andrew, and I'm like, yep, Andrew. So I happen to do that time to time. I will say what I read. My apologies, real. Go ahead.
No, don't worry, guys. Listen, Luke has his kids. He's doing work. He's doing his taxes. You don't even know what this guy's doing right now. He's crazy right now. So
24/7, baby. But I'm here and I'm committed to the cause for the culture.
Yeah. All right, let me say hey to everybody in the chat. Carl Campbell, what's going on, brother? Devin99, what up, Doe? Vash Starwin, what's going on? Roche8814J, what's going on? True Teller, what up? And not a Lions fan, but what's going on? Oh, and DMAP Zoom, what up, brother? All right, so hey, we're gonna get right into it. And the first topic of the day, that was the thumbnail. So if that brought you in, hey man, we're not clickbaiting you here. We're ready to talk about it right now. So listen, we're gonna start off with it, and it's gonna get heated, maybe. So the question of the day is, does Matthew Stafford deserve to be on the Detroit Lions Mount Rushmore? And let me just tee this up real quick. So CBS Sports, they came out with an article naming their Mount Rushmore for the Detroit Lions. And who they put on there was Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson. So those are obvious. We already know those. Then they got Joe Schmidt, who's a little bit before my time. I'm just going to throw that out there. And then their fourth person was Matthew Stafford. So that's what we're going to get into today. What do you guys think? Do you think Matthew Stafford deserves to be on that Mount Rushmore? And if so, is that an indictment on the Lions for not having enough good players to have a Mount Rushmore and we're just defaultly putting Stafford on there? Or does he deserve to be on there? Is he one of those elite upper echelon players? What do you think, J-Mo?
I think we've had a lot of great players to have a Mount Rushmore, but it's a lot of other players that they didn't talk about. Bobby Lane, like guys like Herman Moore. We've had a lot of good players, but should Stafford be on Mount Rushmore? Of course. That's a no brainer. I mean, he has records that's NFL records, not just Lions records. You know what I'm saying? He's probably the best quarterback that's ever put on the Lions uniform so far. So maybe not the most winningest, but the best when it comes to a talent perspective, and the worst when it comes to the team that's around him. So you can argue Barry Sanders had better teams, but that's a whole different debate right there. But I'm actually surprised that they put Matthew Stafford in their Mount Rushmore, but he should be on the Lions Mount Rushmore, like right after you say Barry and Calvin, it should be Stafford, and that third player could be any player you want it to be. So,
All right. I respect that. Well, let me just say this, because the reason why I came across this article was because 97 won the ticket, the home of Mike Valenti. They posted this on Bleacher Report, and they were pretty much against it. So they were saying, why would we have Matthew Stafford on this list of Mount Rushmore people when we have not won a playoff game in his entire tenure? So, right or wrong, what is your opinion? Would you put Matthew Stafford on the Mount Rushmore of the Lions?
Yeah, I would. I mean, he has 41,000 passing yards, which is the most in franchise history. 256 passing touchdowns, which is the most in franchise history.
Facts.
His completion percentage is the highest out of people on the team that have passed for more than 10 passes in a career. So, he took the Lions to the playoffs several times. And he's really carried this team for over a decade. So I can't see how he's not on the Mount Rushmore.
Okay. Let's chill on that one. Taking the Lions to the playoffs several times. That's loose. Come on.
Okay.
It's been like three times.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
several doesn't necessarily got to mean 7. It just means a undefined number of times.
Oh, listen. Several definitely means more than 2. We're just talking about the minimum of several. So I'm just saying. I'm just throwing the devil's advocate out there. But Luke, why don't we go to you, man? Because you're very passionate. You want to speak out. What's going on? What do you think? Should Stafford be on the Mount Rushmore?
Absolutely. He has every right to be on there. Let's go back to some of the stuff that we talked about. So the Detroit Lions from 1991 to present, you ain't gotta go that far. 1991 to 2009 have had a total of 16 quarterbacks start for them at one point in time on that team. 16 quarterbacks in that period. That's a total of 48 years of experience. 48 years. That's 62,000 yards of passing. Here's a guy going into his 12th year who already got 41,000 yards of that. How can he not be on the Mount Rushmore? Like, if you just look at it, he damn near should get his own statue. If you just go through and you look at everything he's done on this team, people always want to criticize Matthew Stafford and say he shouldn't be on Mount Rushmore because he hadn't took us to a playoff game. Well, here's a newsflash, people. Barry Sanders, as great as he was, go and look at his stats in our one playoff game. He had 69 yards. I highly doubt that got us 38 points. I highly doubt that got us 38 points. And all I'm trying to point out is a lot of the times that we always want to criticize, we want to ignore other people. This man deserves every opportunity to be on there because he's done his job. He's done his job. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my debate with the last 2 people on my OMG. It's Lions Talk, and as cool as it gets. And you'll see what I mean. He gets into the playoffs, and when you get to the playoffs, you're still one-dimensional. So, yes, if he's not on Mount Rushmore, then don't put nobody on there.
Luke, I hear what you're saying, man, but proponents of this, or opponents, I should say, of this, would say that this is a much more pass-friendly league. So even though he has those franchise records, of course he does. Of course he does. Because when in the league's history have we passed this often? And he had Calvin Johnson on his team when he was throwing all those yards. Rachel, what do you think?
Well, you Rachel, can't even take that seriously. You're laughing as you're saying it.
Like, come on, man. Like, just because Stafford had a little help. 8 comebacks in one season.
Hey, I'm not saying Stafford's not a great quarterback.
That's the definition of carrying a franchise, though. So
I'm just saying, man, you got players on. You got Jason Hansen, the greatest kicker in history. Come on, he was on the thumbnail.
He's not the greatest kicker in history.
Hey, don't say that. Rachel, we're going to go to you. What do you think? Should Matt Stafford be on the Mount Rushmore of the Detroit Lions?
So I also think absolutely. And this made me look back a few years for a Facebook status that I wrote when people didn't understand him becoming at that time the highest paid quarterback in the league. And so bear with me because I'm going to say exactly what I wrote in that status. And this is my defense for him being on that Mount Rushmore as well. The guy gets drafted by an intimidatingly terrible team the season after they went 0-16. And statistically speaking, many seasons ranks in the top 10s of almost every major category. He's never had a decent run game to offer some leeway, rarely better than a mediocre line, often a defense that can't hold. And until, my opinion, last season from the status, which was 2016, not a very well-rounded out group of wideouts. Obviously, Calvin Johnson being a star, but he's only one man and was kind of used as a security blanket. Turning a team around takes time, and it can't be done alone. In the 2009 and 2010 seasons, Stafford missed a combined 19 games with injuries, but since then hadn't missed one single start in over 100 games. Obviously, these past 2 seasons kind of knocked that off. But he's taken some big hits, gotten right back up, and has become, and at times became increasingly mobile in the pocket, a little faster on his feet. Like we've seen him hustle for some yards. But inconsistency all around him hasn't stopped him from throwing well over 4,000 yards the past 6 seasons from 2017, averaging nearly 300 yards per game, and becoming the fastest player to 30,000 passing yards in NFL history. He's also one of the only 4 quarterbacks to ever throw for over 5,000 yards in a single season. I don't know if that stat has changed. And hasn't ranked lower than 9th in passing touchdowns for the past 6 seasons from 2017, obviously. He threw for 520 yards in a single game in 2011 that they still lost. But if you see what I'm getting at, all with a struggling supporting cast and through ups and downs under numerous head coaches, offensive coordinators, quarterback coaches. But in one season alone, Stafford went from the 32nd ranked quarterback in the league and finished ranked 7th. That was when we first introduced Jim Bob Cooter. So with the deserved extension, the Lions didn't have to worry about that position anymore. They know what they have in Stafford. With that being said, he hasn't won a playoff, I think, is the main argument maybe for him not being on that. He hasn't, but he can't do it alone. So I guess that answers the second question that, yeah, I think a supporting cast is enough of a reason that they haven't won those playoff games, not just him. I don't believe in that quarterback stats being a win. I believe he deserved to get paid, and I believe he belongs on that Mount Rushmore.
Damn. Did you guys all hear that? Did you hear that hot fire?
When the queen speaks, you listen.
No. I want to kick everybody out of here, okay? Only Rachel can be on because she's the only one. I'm taking my... All right, I'm putting myself back. Listen, that was crazy. That was out of control. Rachel, that's exactly what I want to hear. That was facts, spitting facts. This is why they ordained you the queen. I had to put you second in line because you just stepped up the ranks, okay, in my opinion. So that's what I'm talking about. Andrew, you're the only one that hasn't spoken yet. What do you think after Rachel just laid all that out for you?
No
right, good luck, Andrew.
Yeah,
bro,
good luck. Go ahead, bro.
Like, what you want me to say? Look, all I'm going to say is, you guys put out some great points. Rachel, thank you for summarizing everything Stafford has done in his career. Makes my job a little bit easier. But when I look at, top-level quarterbacks, I look at what they can do with what's around them. And there is very few quarterbacks that can lose a star receiver like Calvin Johnson and become better. Very few quarterbacks can do that, let alone take other teams' third-string wide receivers, second-string wide receivers, and turn them into top 10, top 15 wide receivers in the league. Stafford has done so much for the team, and like Rachel has said, he doesn't have the team around him, So if you look at the players that we've had in franchise history, Stafford is definitely a top 5 player, let alone – you look at the quarterbacks we've had, who's going to compare to him? Charlie Batch? Joey Harrington? Come on. Yeah, there's Bobby Lane, but that's 70 years ago. It's not even the same. It's almost a different centuries. So, he definitely deserves a spot.
Let me add on to that a little bit, too. People forget and all the things that she pointed out, that this same scenario happened with another former Detroit Lion quarterback, Scott Mitchell, who at the time was one of the highest paid quarterbacks. And he didn't deliver at even close to what we got from this guy. So, when y'all start worried about people's money and what they getting paid, ask yourself what they doing. Look what he did. Nate Burleson got paid after him. Golden Tate got paid after him. When for some reason they come and play with him, they go somewhere else and get paid. Why? Because they look good under him. So this narrative that he don't make nobody better, we can stop that. That's enough of the dead lies and fairy tales.
Absolutely. Hey. All right. I haven't spoken yet. Listen, I might surprise you guys here. Actually, I'm not. Listen, Stafford definitely deserves to be on that Mount Rushmore. He is, in my opinion, he's the GOAT of the Lions. I am in love with Stafford. He is my favorite quarterback ever. I'm not going to say everything he's ever done in his whole life like Rachel did, but listen, it was well-deserved, and I loved hearing it, and I love that summary because you know what? He definitely should be on that Mount Rushmore and deserves all that respect. Okay, so even though that didn't get as heated as I thought because we were all in agreement because we're all Lions fans, we're all Stafford fans, but we're going to go into the next topic. And this one comes to us from Sports Illustrated. Okay, so they claim that New Mexico State, yeah, that's right, Huntley, okay, he could be the Lions' ultimate sleeper draft pick of this year. Okay, because I say he's really fast. You know, there's a lot of things that he could do. Kick returns. You know, he's obviously going to be lower on the depth chart because we got DeAndre Swift. So we're going to get into this right now. You know, first of all, do you agree with Sports Illustrated? We're going to start off with you, Rachel, because you definitely won the last one. Even though we were all on the same side, you still won. So we're going to start off with you. Do you agree that he could be our ultimate sleeper? And if so, where do you think his biggest impact will come from?
So I'm actually guilty of not doing a lot of research to this point, to be honest, on Huntley. But, you know, when I saw this question a little bit earlier, I did a little bit before the show. He was averaging 5.8 yards per carry in 2018, 7.1 in 2019. He rushed for over 1,000 yards in the season, and he was a productive return man. Everything I read says he's speedy and elusive. So if you put that out on the field, I'm good with it. And he could definitely be a sleeper. But, and I guess this also kind of is what would make him a sleeper. The only reason I'm a little bit like, I don't know, is because what kind of competition is he up against playing at New Mexico State? So I'm kind of like, I see it, like I see the stats. And on paper, I could see him being that sleeper. And then I read New Mexico State and I go, I don't know, maybe. So that's where I'm at.
I needed more optimism than that. Because listen, the fact of the matter is we picked him over Bradley and a guy that went to the Senior Bowl and played under Patricia and got 3 sacks and was touted as one of the best and most productive players under Patricia in the Senior Bowl. And he would have been a steal. And instead, he went to the Dallas Cowboys, which makes me sick to my stomach. Okay. So, in my opinion, he better be a sleeper. He better be that deep ultimate sleeper because to me, you missed out on someone very important that could have bolstered your pass rush. And instead of doing that, you went for a guy that's kind of going to be lower on the depth chart unless he takes over Agnew's job at returning. So to me, he has to be that sleeper. But J-Mo, what do you think about Huntley? Do you think that SI is right, that he can be that ultimate sleeper this year?
I mean, I don't know about that. And see, Rachel was just being, you know, your average college fan looking at New Mexico State's competition. Those numbers are kind of like fake. You got to see it in like a real league. But I don't think he'll be the sleeper because I think he's Ty Johnson replacement, and I think he'll have as much role as Ty Johnson and be either the kick or punt returner. I don't think he'll do both. I think he'll do one, and then with whatever amount of touches Ty Johnson was getting last year, he'll be getting those touches. But when you got Swift, you never know if Swift is as good as he can be. Like he might not get a chance to be on the field that much, but I would rather go with Quintez Cephas as being that guy over Jason Huntley. I don't know how much a big role he's gonna have in the offense to be the best, biggest sleeper out of our entire draft. I just don't know about that. I think Cephas actually has a chance if some injuries or something occur to come and show out, and I think he's gonna make the team and have an impact. But Jason Huntley would be good for us when he's returning.
See, that's definitely interesting, Jamo, because to me, when I look at Cephas, I see him as the only way he's going to see the field is if we encounter injuries. Whereas Huntley, yes, he can see the field if we encounter injuries, but also he has that other dimension of his game because of the return aspect of it. So I see what they're saying as far as Huntley possibly being a sleeper, but Cephas, I don't know, man. We paid $6 million to Amendola.
We've been hyping up Huntley so much. So
don't bring up that Amendola $6 million though.
Look, see, and my thing is, I know the receiver's gonna get hurt. No offense, Marvin Jones and Danny Amendola, they not gonna play 16 games. They're gonna miss some games. I ain't gonna say a lot, but they'll miss some games. But my point is, I would think Cephas would break out more than Huntley would because of the running back situation. Like, how many snaps is he gonna really be getting on offense? Like I said, the same amount as Ty Johnson last year, which is not a lot. So,
wasn't Ty Johnson our leader in attempts?
I mean, when you add Swift and Kerryon, like, he might not get the ball at all. Like,
well, you got Kerryon for half a season, so that's one thing. And then
that's the reality. I mean, I don't know about that. Once he has a running mate, he might not be good for a full season. So I'm not assuming he's gonna get hurt.
I hear you. Luke, what do you think about SI's comments, man? They're saying that Huntley can be that ultimate sleeper for the Lions this year, kind of like a Galladay back when we drafted him, even though he wasn't that far down, or maybe like a Quandre Diggs when we drafted him. What do you think? You think he could be that ultimate sleeper this year?
I think SI is right. I think they spot on, and I think they right, and it scares the shit out of me. And I'll tell you what I mean. Let's be honest, people. He's got that versatility. He can be a kick and punt return guy. He'll get his shot there. But look how they use J.D. McKissic. Now take that. Hold that memory in your head of how they use J.D. McKissic. And then remember how they use Theo Reddick. Now take that and hold that in your head. And then go and look at New England, what they did with Deion Lewis. I think they're going to use him the same way and very often. All those plays where they was running reverses with Jamal Agnew, he getting those. When they need somebody for a screen underneath with speed, he getting that. When they do a two-back system, it's going to be him and Swift.
Really?
I think SI is on to something. I think that he's going to get more playing time than people think because everybody is so focused on what we did in the first, what we did in the second, but nobody's talking about what we did in those later rounds, and that's usually where Bob Quinn makes his money. That's where he gets stuff done in those later rounds. I think, call me crazy, I think you finna see a whole lot of Huntley. They finna give him a chance to play. They're going to give him a chance to play, and I think he will make plays, and his playing time will go up. And then at the end of the year, if they don't like what's coming out of Kerryon Johnson, they'll just be like, well, we got two running backs. Just saying. I think they're right.
Hey, Luke, I remember last show, I made you change your mind. Like, you just had me drinking that Kool-Aid right now, man. Like, this feels good. I was like, you know what, man? If he's J.D. McKissic and he getting all them sweet plays, he might be crazy.
They go think about it. They're gonna give him every shot. Every shot.
Hold up, guys. Hold up. So Luke, are you telling me that you think that he's already jumped Ty Johnson on the depth chart?
Yes.
Yeah, because they I'm gonna tell you why. It's because they're so invested in Agnew that Agnew was just gonna make the team over Ty Johnson regardless, and that's how it's gonna end up being.
So you don't think Ty's even gonna make the team?
No. I think that you got to keep in mind that if we're talking a team with no injuries, no problems. Yeah, I don't think he makes a team. In fact, if you go back to that show we did for the draft, soon they was like Jason Huntley and J-Mo was going up. I said he returned kicks. That's all I need to know. Like, bye-bye, Ty Johnson. See you later, Agnew. He returned kicks. And one of the problems that they had is if you go back and you look at the Lions' average field position from special teams, that's why they just couldn't take it. They changed the standard from that point. I give Matt Patricia props for that because everybody talks about, oh man, they let Sam Martin walk. Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn remember when he shanked that punt in that Cardinals game. 11-yard punt. They like, oh, hell no. Nah. So to me, Jason Huntley is about to get all them touches. He's finna be used grossly in a way that scares me because I think everybody's expecting for Swift to do some things, expect for Huntley to get a lot of touches.
So do you not think that this quarantine and the lack of off-season practices and whatnot, do you not think that that's going to affect the depth chart? Maybe those guys that have some in-game experience might, still remain in their spot in the depth chart and not be overtaken by the newbies?
No, because if you think about it, we're still going to play some preseason games. They still going to get a chance to see them in practice. And two, when you bring somebody in who can do what he can do in terms of being a catcher out the backfield, you can put him in the slot, you can run him on reverses, you can put him on kick, you can put him on punt. You'd be foolish to just kick him off the team and decide to go with, say, Ty Johnson, who's going to give you what? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Nothing. And that's my point. I think that they're gonna look at this roster and say to myself, oh, I'm done with it. All this time people been talking about, oh, well, we got soft players, we got this. Well, he's changing the culture. This part of it then. I think that they brought this guy in to truly give him an edge, because that's the one thing that everybody talk about with the Lions. We need some speed. What is his number one trait? Speed.
All right.
You can't teach or coach speed.
I feel you. Hey, man. Well, you got me drinking the Kool-Aid now. I'm really happy to hear that.
I'm just telling you. When I saw the question,
exactly what I wanted to hear, man, because like I've said it multiple times, man, I didn't like who they passed up on, so I want him to be great. I really, really do. And hey, you guys in the chat, you guys are killing it. You guys are you're making me die laughing over here. Just make sure you hit that like button. It really helps us out. Really helps us, make through the rounds of YouTube and get through their algorithm and all that, math magic and all that stuff. But we're going to go on to you, Andrew. What do you think about Huntley, Mr. New Mexico State? Do you think he can be that sleeper this year?
So unfortunately, I'm going to have to disagree with Luke, man. I mean, Luke, I'm sorry, but you're tripping. You're 100% tripping. Look, they have Kerryon Johnson, all right, who they invested a second-round draft pick in. All right. Mm-hmm. So they're still invested in him. Then what did they do this year? They brought in DeAndre Swift. You cannot tell me that they're going to put in Huntley over Swift in those situations that you mentioned, let alone if they had to choose and they do a 2-back set. They're most likely going to throw the ball to Swift unless they're doing like a double reverse fake or something like that. There's no way that Huntley is going to get enough targets and touches to actually do something. Do I think he has the potential? Yeah, he has the potential for sure. I saw his tape. I think he's a fantastic running back. But when you look at our team, I don't see the targets and touches there. Okay. We had slightly under 100 targets go to our running backs last year. So when I look at it this year, you're telling me that Huntley's going to get enough targets out of 100 to make an impact in our passing game from our backfield? That's just not going to happen. We have Swift, who can catch the ball and do a lot of things in the passing game. So I would easily chalk up 50 to him. And then the other 50, all right, we'll give Huntley some. Kerryon's obviously going to get some. And, potentially Ty Johnson, he was there or whatever. I just don't see him getting enough targets and touches for him to have a Tariq Cohen season, for him to have that Kenny Galladay season where they just come out of nowhere and ball out, because we invested so much in Swift in the run game, and then we still have Kerryon. Not to mention, if they don't involve the tight ends more this year, people are going to flip a shit. So when you look at everything, the targets and touches are just not there. And to touch on Rachel's thing, who had way more yards per carry coming out of college than Huntley? Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson had an average of 7.4 or 7.5 yards per carry. So the dude has speed. The dude had breakaway speed, but it just didn't equate. So when you add everything up, I just don't see it happening.
Well,
thank you so much, Andrew.
Listen, I'll tell Andrew this, and this is why I'll tell Andrew that he's wrong. They so committed to Kerryon Johnson, is what he said. that they drafted 2 running backs, not 1, 2. Okay, and one of them came in the 2nd round. So that commitment don't seem that strong to Kerryon Johnson. Okay,
okay,
so hold up. I'm
So
gonna
no.
respond to this real
No.
quick,
Let me just say this real quick. So now you're telling me, Luke, that he's not only going to jump Ty Johnson on the depth chart, but he's going to jump on the depth chart too?
No. That's not what I'm saying.
You said they're not committed to him.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. He was saying that they're so committed, so that they're going to do things with Kerryon.
I said they're still committed, not so committed, still committed.
Right. He said that they're still committed to Kerryon Johnson. But what I said was that they were going to use Huntley as the same way they used J.D. McKissick and Theo Riddick and Deion Lewis. That's exactly what I said. He's saying he don't see where he gonna get those touches, and I'm saying that's not gonna work, because if you're gonna do it, you're gonna put the 2 best catching running backs back there. The 2 best catching running backs on our team, on paper, is Swift right now and Huntley. Why?
No, I disagree with that.
Okay, all right.
So hold up. Let me rebuttal this a little bit, Luke. So I do agree. You know, we did invest in DeAndre Swift. You know, I get that. But why would we just jump from Kerryon and DeAndre Swift to giving Huntley all these freaking catches and targets? I understand what you're saying with the Deion Lewis thing, and I get it. That's a Patriots thing. But Bevel is not a Patriots coordinator, for one.
Agree.
And for 2, there's no way that Huntley will get more targets than DeAndre Swift when DeAndre Swift can do it better.
Again, keep in mind, I said all the gadget plays, all the little 2 running back sets, I think it's going to be him and Swift.
So I have a question for you, Luke. What makes you think that we're going to run 2 back sets?
Because I just go back to the history of the Seattle Seahawks. So what the Seattle Seahawks did was, you know, they obviously ran the ball. They ran the ball and they played dink and dunk, basically, which is what I think most teams should do, because that's how Tom Brady got most of his championships. Just dink and dunk his way on down there. Except for that one year when he had Randy Moss. That was a different beast. But I think what you'll see is I remember last year, Bo Scarborough was balling out for us. And it was 3rd and I want to say 1. We was like on the goal line or something. And they put in J.D. McKissick. Why? Because this is the reality that we got to look at. They put in J.D. McKissick, and the first thing that you saw them do was run the ball with him, because they're trying to confuse people. And I remember all the years where we had some of the other running backs, and Theo Riddick was still getting more touches. And I'm like, why is Theo Riddick getting so many touches in situations that you shouldn't? I think Huntley is a situational running back, that he changes the platform of what they do. And to me, you're not going to draft 2 running backs if you feel comfortable with what you got from your starting running back, i.e. Kerryon, and your now high draft picks. That's all I'm saying.
See, I mean, I feel you, but we also drafted and brought in how many tight ends when we took TJ Hawkinson? All right.
2.
You know, yeah, exactly. We had brought in Jesse James. We got
1,
which was the second one. We drafted
2.
TJ Hawkinson. And then we
I forgot Jesse James.
Logan
Jesse
Thomas.
James. 3.
Our whole tight end room, bro. Like you can't say that, we invested too much.
Listen, keep in mind, you already had Bo Scarborough on the roster. He showed that he could play. He could do what you want him to do. Run between the tackles. You already had Kerryon on the roster, who could run between the tackles. You had Ty Law on the roster. I'm just saying. You had Ty Law on the roster.
Ty Law?
Not Ty Law. I mean Ty Johnson. You got Ty Johnson, and then you got they had J.D. McKissick. They also had C.J. Anderson. So my thing is this: I've seen them do this before, where you look up and you like, dang, this person gonna get the ball. This person gonna get the ball, and it's the person that you don't even talk about who's getting it. I think that person is gonna be Huntley.
So I feel you, man, but the targets are not there because of the fact that you have Kerryon Johnson. You have Bo Scarborough and you have DeAndre Swift. It's too many running backs for one to just have such a breakout season, especially when he was a late round draft pick, and they have to establish it with our early round draft picks. They're in a make or break year. There's no way they're going to just give Huntley all the catches, all the touches. When they drafted DeAndre Swift, who can do all of that. I get the trickery aspect, but I don't know, man.
We spent too much time on this
Talking
topic.
in circles now.
Yeah, we got to get to the tiebreaker, right or wrong, man. We're a split panel right now, man. It's on you. Do you think that Huntley can be that sleeper like SI that SI claims they can be?
Yeah, I mean, I had all of this stuff planned out, and Luke pretty much covered everything that I was gonna say.
Ooh, all right.
However,
You a smart man. You a smart man.
I do want to point out that when he played UTEP last season, he had 14 carries and averaged 13.6 yards a carry.
I'm just saying.
There was only one game last year where he averaged less than 5 yards a carry, which was against Alabama. I mean, he might not get a ton of touches, to Andrew's point, but it only takes us one touch for him to get 20, 30 yards. I mean, he's so explosive and so fast that it only takes one touch to get a huge play.
Okay. See, thank you, Dub. That's my new name for him, Dub, because he got the 2 W's, so we gonna call him Dub. Thank you, Dub. I appreciate that support. Thank you.
I'm gonna put this in the memory bank, Luke. I'm just laying.
Yeah, put it in there. Put it in there and come back and get at me, man. If I'm just out of my mind crazy, I just don't think that commitment for him is that strong when you just look at it. Like, dude, this guy is just not. They did too much, in my opinion. They did way too much. We're trying to bring running backs in, and I just thought that okay, they're looking at it and saying, hey, we got to find people who can make plays and do it with speed. That ain't carry on.
Right. No, 100%. All right, we're gonna move on to the third topic. So listen, Pride of Detroit, they came out with an article, and they were ranking the cornerbacks of the NFC North, and this list. I'm just going to spoil it right now. It contained 3 Lions in the top 5 cornerbacks of the NFC North. So we're going to go down the list. Number 5, they have Justin Coleman. Number 4, Jeff Okudah. 3, Kyle Fuller from the Bears. 2, Desmond Trufant. And 1, Jair Alexander from the Packers. So the questions from this is, first of all, do you agree with the list? And do you think that it's valid to have 3 Lions on the list, including one that has never seen the field and one that has never played in the NFC North before? So we're going to start this off with you, right or wrong. What do you think about that list?
I agree with the list. I think that it's a pretty good list. And I think that the Lions should have 3 on there just because of all the capital we've put into that position. I mean, Justin Coleman was the highest paid slot cornerback when we paid him. I don't know if he still is, but he's definitely up there. We took the number 3 overall pick and drafted Jeffrey Okudah and paid Desmond Trufant $20 million over 2 years. So with all the capital we put into that, they should have 3 on that list. At least
Boom.
I think.
I love that. I love that you said that they invested all of this capital in it. I definitely agree with that. Guys, if you have not subscribed to Right or Wrong, click on his channel, man. Check him out. He's pumping out content like crazy. He's pumping out like a video a day, something insane
two
or
3 a day. 2 or 3 a time.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disrespect you like that, man. But listen, seriously,
right.
Check him out. He's good. Content's great. All right. Andrew, what do you think about that list? Okay. Do you think it's valid to have 3 cornerbacks from the Lions on there? And especially since one of them hasn't played a snap in the league and one of them has not played in the NFC North.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the cornerbacks they did put on the list, and I mean, you also gotta figure Slay's not here anymore, so he's not added into the factor. Xavier Rhodes isn't there, Trey Waynes isn't there, so the Vikings literally lost their whole secondary. So it kind of makes the list a little bit easier to make in the first place.
Facts.
But I don't know if I would put Jair Alexander at 1. I mean, that's a little like pushy. I feel like this dude's a Packers fan or something because Alexander's played 2 years in the league or 1 year in the league. Like, come on now.
Okay, I mean that's fair. That's fair to say. I mean he did ball out though. He was pretty good, and he's not a Packers fan, by the way. This is Pride of Detroit claiming this. So that's okay. Our boys Jeremy Reisman and Math Bomb and all them. But Luke, what do you think about this list, man? Let me just go over the list one more time, and just in case people forgot. So at number 5, we got Justin Coleman, 4, Jeff Okudah, 3, Kyle Fuller, 2, Desmond Trufant, and 1, Jair Alexander. What do you think about that list, bro?
I don't like it. I don't like it. Listen, man, I think cornerbacks are like great commodities. I think this is great to have cornerbacks who can ball. You know, you go back to the Denver Broncos, Talib and Chris Harris. You go, man, outstanding cornerbacks. But there's another part that goes to that. That's that pass rush. That's that ability to get after teams. And without that, I think we can have a rough season with getting exposed by some people because guess what? If you're not able to put pressure on them and a guy got to cover for an extended period of time, it's going to show up. You put a Kudo on there because he was taken, what, 3rd overall? So what? How many people have been taken 3rd overall and didn't pan out? Been taken 1st overall and didn't pan out? 2nd overall didn't pan out? We took Joey Harrington 3rd overall. Okay? That didn't work out for us. So to me, I don't like the idea of them putting people who didn't took no snap on the list. That disgusts me. If you're going to put him on the list, I could make an argument that Cameron Dantzler could be on the list over some of the other people on there. And I'm not trying to knock down Justin Coleman, but you a slot corner. Over who?
You said over who?
You can, if you're gonna add him on there, you can put Cameron. I'll take Cameron Dantzler over Trufant. I'll take him over Justin Coleman.
Oh, bro, just stop.
It's like Andrew said, that's going in the memory bank. You talking crazy.
Yeah, I know. It always sounds crazy until it happens. And I'm just telling you, when you go back and you look at the film of Cameron Dantzler and stuff, I look at people's matchups against the best talent they can be. He didn't Chase Jamar is probably going to be a top 5, top 10 receiver, right? He's probably going to be. He didn't kill him. He didn't,
care about what he did against some college receiver. He's not better than Desmond Trufant right now. Like,
listen, I know you made a video. I know you made a video about Desmond Trufant, but take a second. Take a second.
Face better competition.
Listen, take a second.
Talk over each other, guys.
Take a second to hear me out, J-Mo. If you're going to put Jeff Okudah on the list, why are you putting him on the list? So now my question is if we're including the rookies at this base, you can take Desmond Trufant because one of the best things about playing football is availability. Don't act like Desmond Trufant just out here never getting hurt, never having problems. Don't act like he wasn't over there getting worked by DeAndre Hopkins. I understand what you're saying. Everybody have a bad game. But my point I'm trying to make to you is Jamar Chase is a different beast. That's a different beast, that receiver. And I'm telling you, when you watch his film, I'm telling you, I would take him over there. He's bigger. He's more physical, and I like what I've seen out of his game. I just think that if we're going to play the game of putting these people on there, I would take him over Justin Coleman. He's a slot receiver. I mean, a slot corner. So to me, to have a guy that's playing slot corner and you're going to make this list, I get it. But if you're going to do it and you're going to say that they're going to be there, you can do that for anybody. I'm just making the point that for me, I like Dantzler, and I'm telling you, Dantzler is going to be somebody that you're going to learn his name. I just really believe that's the case. Plus, guess what he got in front of him? The pass rush. The same thing that those other good cornerbacks had in front of them. People talk about how great Jalen Ramsey is, right? But go and look at that defense he was in front of when he came there. They was touching the quarterback repeatedly. I don't think we do that, and I think that can expose our cornerbacks.
So
okay,
Luke,
so wait, Mike. Go ahead, Andrew.
Sorry, I'm just gonna say something. Luke, you are saying some wild stuff tonight. I'm just gonna let you.
I love it.
And like, all right, for one, Desmond Trufant is not injured all the time. He had 2 seasons where he missed 7 games, and then the rest he played every single game. So yeah, he had 2 seasons where he got injured. You know, he was done for a good while. And then I get it. You like Cameron Dantzler, but Cameron Dantzler didn't go top 5. Cameron Dantzler didn't go top 3. Why? Because nobody had him up there, and he wasn't playing against the very top talent that Ohio State is playing.
Oh, don't start. Don't start, Luke. Please
I'm going to say Hold on. Let me finish, and then you can say whatever you want, all right? I get the Justin Coleman thing. He's a nickel cornerback, right? But dude, nobody will take another cornerback over the highest graded cornerback that was drafted 3rd overall. You can debate the Coleman thing, but you cannot say that a rookie cornerback, especially one that wasn't even drafted that high, is better than a Desmond Trufant or an Okudah that got taken 3rd. And I'm done. You can say whatever you want. I'm not going to rebuttal.
All right, listen. Here's my thing. Here's my thing. Hold on. Here's my thing. Hold on, J-Mo. Because this his response to me. All right. So listen, let's get into it. What round was Richard Sherman drafted in?
Bro, he wasn't drafted first. I know what you're going to say.
What round was Richard Sherman drafted in? What round was he drafted in?
Dude, we can make this all day. You can say
that.
Wait.
Listen, it's not a debate. It's not a debate. But I want him to answer the question. Because he led
4th or some shit.
He led it off. He led it off by saying that you cannot do this for a guy who was taken 3rd overall and wasn't drafted that high. Where you get drafted don't mean nothing to me. I don't care where you
haven't played a snap in the NFL and you're making rankings lists.
No, it doesn't. J-Mo, hold on. This is me and him. This is me and Andrew right now, J-Mo. All right? Listen, I get it.
Bro, we might have to have a real debate on this one.
Listen, we may have to, but I just want to point this out to you. To me, it's just me. Listen, I have always done this before. Y'all know this is what I do. To me, I don't care where a person is drafted if they are good at what they do. I don't care. If your only argument is that Okudah gets to make the list because he was the 3rd overall, the highest rated corner, there's a lot of people who've been the highest rated corner that do not pan out. The difference is Dantzler has the front 7 in front of him to get more done than what our guys do. And when I go through and I look at our guys, I think they're going to be in coverage much longer. Just facts. But you know what? I'm challenging you to that debate now, Andrew.
Right, Luke, I'm just going to give you a little taste of this debate real quick. First of all, their whole front 7 pretty much got blown up. At least their most effective front 7 players besides Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks. First of all, he's going to be versing everyone as in terms of the wide receiver spot because they don't have a secondary now besides Harrison Smith. All right. So you added the fact that you lost Everson Griffin, Linval Joseph, and then you're going to go put him out in an island against Devontae Adams, Kenny Galladay, Allen Robinson. Bro, no. And let alone you're talking about overall in the career. I feel you on that, bro. I 100% feel you. 7th round picks, they ball out sometimes. 6th round picks, they ball out. 1st round picks don't always ball out. But we are talking about players purely from their college history. If it's 3 years from now, I have no problem with you putting Dantzler 1st overall if he is. But we are going purely off right now. The dude hasn't played a snap. You cannot put him over a Desmond Trufant. You cannot put him over an Okudah. You just can't.
Okay.
J-Mo, was there something you wanted to add to that?
Man, I just wanted to let Luke know that Dantzler isn't better than any cornerback mentioned in that list.
Okay.
And any Lions cornerback, he not better than Amani Oruwariye either. So look, man, I know you love the guy, but Jeffrey Okudah comes from Ohio State. Let me know the top rated Ohio State cornerback that didn't pan out. The last
Eli Apple.
Eli Apple was drafted 3rd overall.
Now you want to talk about draft position. You said the top rated Ohio State. I gave you the top rated Ohio State. Eli Apple.
Ward went for, and he was a good cornerback. Okudah's supposed to be the
That's
best.
Listen, J-Mo, don't change the conversation. You said name me a cornerback who was the top rated. I gave it to you. Not where he was drafted.
Eli
That's
Apple
different.
wasn't the number 1 cornerback though.
Okay, I hear you.
That year.
I hear you.
The number 1.
I hear you.
One of them, but he wasn't the number 1.
Okay, I hear you.
Luke, I want to. So listen, you're just destroying this list. You haven't said your list, man. Who do you got as the top 5 cornerbacks in the NFC North?
I can't wait for this.
Well, to me, if I gotta do it based off of,
do it based off of whatever you think is the best cornerbacks in the NFC North.
First of all, it wouldn't be no rookies in this list.
Okay.
Okudah's not making the list. Coleman's not making the list. And I'm not putting Trufant in this list because again, I'm doing that based off the fact that they gotta have what's in front of them. So I don't even know who the Bears got right now because I'm up here still cooking and doing stuff. I'm trying to think. You gotta give me a minute to go and look at who the corners are.
Look, they got the cornerbacks you're trying to put in this list right now are not even their first string cornerbacks. All of the ones in this list are the first string cornerbacks for each team besides the Vikings because they obliterated their whole cornerback room. So you're trying to tell me
No. I understand what you're saying. What I'm telling you is I can't name you a list because I don't know all of their corners like that. I'm not following it.
That should prove that you shouldn't be putting them in the list because they're not even worth.
No. What it does is this. And I want to be clear. What it does is this. It's one thing to say do that. Now again, I am doing 3 things at once as usual. But what I'm saying is I can't think off the top of my head right now all of the cornerbacks in the NFC North. Like to me, Alexander should definitely be in that list. I know he's on the Green Bay Packers, but I can't remember who else the Green Bay Packers had on a cornerback.
Kevin King is the only other one from the Packers. The Bears don't have a single other good cornerback unless you go to their safeties. And the Vikings have no cornerbacks besides their rookies because they got rid of their whole cornerback room, which only leaves the Lions.
I'll tell you what. I tell you what. What we can do, we can have the debate, but right now, I'm just telling you, right now, I don't remember all the corners. And I know that just because they're not a household name, I don't care. Like you just said that they don't got no safety but Harrison Smith. And I'm like, Anthony Harris is a very good safety. So just because you don't know the name does not mean that they're not a good player. But I don't remember all of the people's roster. I follow the Lions, the Buccaneers, and the Seahawks. That's who I follow hard. But I don't remember all.
I'll let you do your research, Luke. I'll let you do your research.
He literally just told you all the other cornerbacks. There isn't.
But you didn't. You did. Who are all of the Bears starting cornerbacks? Tell me all they starting cornerbacks. Then we can talk about it. Tell me all of them. I just want to know.
Kyle Fuller is the only relevant one.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to get
at. So listen. It doesn't matter if he's the only relevant one. I would still put him on that list before I put a rookie. So
I put
we're
Amani
not
on
better
that list.
than Trufant though. But back to the list though, because like Luke is on some foolishness, and I can't wait till the season start. And Okuda is better than Dantzler. I'm not gonna let you live it down.
Please don't hold me accountable. Hold me accountable. Don't.
I'll just talk about the list. I'll just talk about the list, man.
Well, wait, let me tee it up. Let me tee it up because people might have forgot what the list even is at this point. So the list right now,
guys.
No, you're good. The list from Pride of Detroit is number 5, Justin Coleman. Number 4, Jeff Okuda. Number 3, Kyle Fuller from the Bears. Number 2, Desmond Trufant. And number 1, Jair Alexander from the Green Bay Packers. What do you think about the list, J-Mo?
Okay, so Jair Alexander definitely shouldn't be number 1. On that list, Trufant is definitely the best cornerback on that list. And then I would put you can laugh, but Jair Alexander can't handle Kenny Golladay from giving him $100. So let's stop. So and then after Trufant, I would put Jair, then Kyle Fuller, and I'll keep Okuda, but I'll put him at 5. And I like having Justin Coleman at 4. I think he's a really good cornerback. He's a slot cornerback, but he's the best one in the entire division. So he definitely deserves to be there. Yeah, that's about it. But I'm not putting Jair Alexander 1. No.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I think Jair Alexander is really, really good. And I don't know about Trufant. Like we have to see him in the north, but he's a beast, so I'll put him 2. But Rachel, I don't want to step over royalty right now. So, hey, what do you think about this list that Pride of Detroit put out? We got 3 Lions in the top 5 cornerbacks of the NFC North. What do you think about it?
Man, I feel like 5 is just the number that people have to go with for these lists, because if you do a shorter list than that, it's what's really the point. But I read this list and I was like, cut it to 3, move Fuller to 1, Jair to 2, keep Desmond Trufant there at 3, and then just stop the list there because Jeff Okuda hasn't stepped on an NFL field yet, and Justin Coleman was just too inconsistent last year. I mean, not saying that he can't be good.
Thank you, Rachel.
But he gets you all excited one game, and then the next game you're like, oh, I thought we were doing this, but I guess we're not.
Thank you, Rachel.
So to me, I'm like, I think they have to go with 5, but it shows you the level of competition in the NFC North right now as far as corners go. I just think, it's not that there are not good corners in the NFC North. I think there are some unproven corners there, and we'll see how they pan out this year. But I think it just goes to show that this is their list of 5, and they kind of lose me after 3 because I'm like, okay, I guess,
Wait, I just want to be clear, Andrew. Are we doing this debate? Because I really need to know this. Because I'm so ready to burn that little debate up. Like right now, I'm cooking and working and wrangling kids. But I'm telling you,
I'm down for a debate. I am down for a debate. All right.
We're gonna set it.
I know.
Yeah, we're gonna set a day. We're gonna set a day, and we're gonna do the debate. And I'm telling you, it's something that Rachel said that I don't think y'all are catching on to. And I'm gonna show you when we had that debate. But go ahead. Though. I'm sorry, Real. Go ahead.
No, you guys are good, man. You guys crack me up, man. All right, so we're gonna go on to the next topic. So listen, joint practices are not allowed, obviously, because of the pandemic going on. And as the Lions, we've had many joint practices. I think it was since like 2015, we've had a joint practice every single year. And obviously, since we've had Patricia, we've had joint practices with the Patriots and, with Pittsburgh and these AFC teams. So how do you guys think this affects our team? Do you think that it negatively affects the team, or do you think there's no real issue because this affects every team? Why don't we start off with you, Rachel?
My answer is short and sweet. I don't think it matters because it hasn't helped us to this point. Like, I don't see
They didn't help us this far.
I'm just, I'm like, okay, yeah, we've had them the past couple of years and we've been able to have, but if we're worse than 3-12-1 this year and somebody says it's because we didn't have joint practices, I'd be declined to say that's incorrect. So I just, I'm like, they're not making us any better, I don't think, or at least I don't see it on the field.
You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and put my take in there. I'm in 100% agreement with you, Rachel. I don't see how it really affects us at all because, first of all, it's happening to the entire league. So it's not like other teams have a competitive advantage that way. And then second of all, it hasn't helped us. It's just a fact. We haven't been winning, and we've had these joint practices for years. So I don't see how it's any benefit. J-Mo, do you disagree at all with that?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't think that it's a positive or negative thing, but y'all forgetting our joint practices is why we got Romeo Okwara and Devon Kennard. We've done a lot of scouting.
Good point.
That is a good point, J-Mo.
We might be very confident in Deron Harmon because of the joint practices the last 2 years with the Patriots because we've seen him. So same thing goes for Jamie Collins, but I'm just thinking about the players that we've actually signed. Like, I won't say it's a negative effect because now we can't have the joint practices for scouting, but Bob Quinn has always used the joint practices to get players. So now we won't be able to scout the certain players that we would scout, but I wouldn't say it's like a positive or negative thing because everyone's in the same situation. But, maybe now we don't have those diamonds in the rough and we can't have Bill Belichick fawn over Jelani Tavai and say how amazing he is no more. So it's all good. We got to work on it.
Now, I know it was a full moon yesterday. I know it was. And I know that it's starting to go away today. But I'm agreeing with J-Mo. He took exactly what I was going to say. It was a huge recruiting tool for us and for other teams. And so, yes, it does not have a negative or a positive. But I think that small effect is one of the ones you got to look at. To be able to not see some of the other people in practice that that they're not paying attention to. We've had multiple people that we took in from the Houston Texans where we had joint practices and stuff. So that joint practices is a very good recruiting tool. And the fact that I'm agreeing with J-Mo, I need to go have me a drink or a shot, and I don't even drink, but I need to go do one today because there's too much agreement going on with J-Mo here.
I guess they didn't hear the last segment.
You guys had a very good point. I honestly did not think of that. That's a good point, man.
Yes,
that recruiting. Yeah. right or wrong, we're going to go to you, man, because obviously we have two different opinions going on. Me and Rachel really think that there's nothing, beneficial about these joint practices because guess what? We've been losing, and honestly, to be completely honest, even though we've got Romeo Okawara and these other players because of that hasn't really helped us, bro. Just saying. But right or wrong, what do you think about not having joint practices? Do you think it's detrimental to our team? Do you think that it's not really a big deal since all the other teams are also in the same boat? What do you think?
Well, I did not think of JMO's point, so that is a fantastic point. But I think it's a deficit, but I don't think it's going to be the key factor in whether the Detroit Lions are contenders or if they win 3 games again. I mean, I think as all the problems that Bob Quinn has had as a GM, I think he's pretty good at seeing diamonds in the rough. I think he's pretty good at scouting those, but I don't think it's going to make or break our season.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I'm in agreement with you guys. We got over 36 in the chat. I'd love if you'd like to comment. Just, click that like button. Take a quick second. It really helps us out the channel, helps the DSA grow, and helps this channel or this video get in rotation so that other people can see it. Other Lions fans can see it in their suggested section. So that'd be very awesome. And again, subscribe to Right or Wrong, man. He's pumping out the good content. Andrew, my partner in crime, man. What do you think about these joint practices being canceled? Do you think that it's, a benefit to the team maybe? Do you think it's detrimental to the team? Is it just no big deal at all? What do you think about it?
Dude, it absolutely sucks. And I'll tell you why. All right. I get what you guys are saying. We stole some players from teams because you get to have a closer eye on them, and stuff like that. But when I think of joint practices, I don't think of our defense against our offense. I think of Kenny Galladay against Stephon Gilmore because we were supposed to match up with the Patriots this year, I believe. It's tough when you go day in and day out in every single practice and you're practicing against the same guys who are able to dissect your game and your, techniques to a T. And then it's just about execution. When you bring in different competition and you don't know what you're going to get from those players, that's when you up your playing abilities. And that's when you learn different things and know how to adjust. And so when I look at it, it does suck because it's just going to be our offense against our defense and, 7 player drills and this and that. And I like it the most when we're versing other teams during practices. You get that different coaching style, you get different matchups so I don't know. I just think it sucks in terms of getting ready for the season because nobody likes practicing against the same guys over and over again because you do learn each other. When you don't have that, that's when you start seeing how people actually play.
I think you make a very good point. I'm just shocked that you would feel like that when we got 3 of the top cornerbacks in the NFC North. This just shocks me a little bit, but I totally get. I totally get what you're saying. You want to see Galladay go against somebody else, not the 3 great cornerbacks of the NFC North.
Luke, you know what? I'm just gonna shut that down real quick because none of them are the defensive MVP, Stephon Gilmore. First of all, second of all. Like I said, it's all about when you're versing the same people day in and day out, you learn each other. When you're versing someone you haven't played before or maybe once or twice, you don't know their game all that well. So then it's literally just talent against talent, and you get to see who's better. But if you're just versing the same corners over and over and over again, what do you get from that? When it's
you get 3 of the greatest cornerbacks in the NFC North.
You're trying to narrow it down just to
3 of 5.
One game, I'm talking about the passing game. I'm talking about the offensive line, the defensive line, every single position. Don't try and narrow it down on me because I'm going to kill you in that debate.
I cannot wait. Hey, I love you, Andrew. I can't wait for that debate. It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so fun.
Luke, man, I've known Andrew like my whole life, man. I could tell he's getting mad, and oh my god, it's so funny, man.
Luke be throwing random stuff. He'll be like, you know what, Richard Sherman. You know what, Patrick Peterson. What the hell are you saying right now, bro? Like.
You know what I love about Luke?
You just throw out names. I'm like, Luke.
Well, you know what I love about Luke? He'll throw out some random analogies. He'll be like, this is like when you go to the strip club and you get wings and they ain't no Buffalo Wild Wings.
Hey, you got to have fun, man. You got to have fun while you're here. I told somebody today at work, I say, they was like, man, I'm sick and tired of the schedule we get. And I said, listen, man, you know what you signed up for. You acting like you went a English pub but is expected to get a woof. They the same type of thing. They different. They different.
Man, that's
Just
why we
saying.
love you, Luke. That's why we love you, man. All
Hey,
right.
salute, man. Salute to y'all.
I'm keeping all the receipts. Just let you know.
Hey, hold the receipts. I love it, man. I love it. This is the benefit of football, man. People don't be knowing. Like, we have so much fun doing this with each other and stuff, and they don't even realize that how much fun we be having with this. And so, no, listen, I'm not. If people think I make this stuff up just to be different, no, I really just be believing this. Like, okay, but when I had a debate with Andrew, get your popcorn ready. That's all I'm gonna say. Get your popcorn ready.
100%. 100%. Guys, listen, guys. Over 35 people in the chat. Listen, we've been on for over an hour. It's time right now for you guys to post your questions in the chat. We will get to them. I always, it always gets heated. So then the chat like fires up and I always get really behind. So don't be discouraged if we haven't gotten there yet. We're going to get to all the questions. But if you've posted a question early on in the show, we're not going to get to those because we've already scrolled way past that. So listen, post them again and we're going to get to them. And I love on Tuesday, you guys were posting some fire questions. So keep them coming. But we do have a question for you guys from the panel. And this is, will the Lions have 1,000-yard rusher this season? Obviously, we hear the stat. We haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher in like 200 years or something like that. But now we obviously have DeAndre Swift. We got Huntley. We talked about him possibly being a sleeper. We still got Carry-On. We have Bo Scarborough, who clearly busted onto the scene last year. Rachel, do you think the Lions will have 1,000-yard rusher in 2020?
It's a no from me, only because I have this weird, like, as soon as I read this question, I thought I have this weird feeling that someone will get really close, but not quite hit that mark. And hear me out, as long as they're close to that mark, I still think this offense is going to be really scary. So this isn't me hating or anything. I have this weird feeling that I'm going to be like, man, he was so close, but didn't quite hit that mark. And I don't know which one. I can't make up my mind as to who it's going to be, but somebody's going to get close. They're not quite going to hit the mark.
Okay, I see what you're saying there. Yeah, I mean, that would suck if somebody was like 980 yards and then they just didn't get it. Kind of like when Calvin Johnson broke the record for a single season yards for a receiver. I was like, why didn't you just let him get to 2,000? Just throw him one more pass, let him get to 2,000. But hey, it is what it is. JMO, what do you think about this? Do you think that the Lions will have 1,000-yard rusher this season?
I feel like it don't matter what I think, they need to have one if they want to win the division. But I pray they do. But I'm with Rachel on this. I'm not really that confident we'll have 1,000-yard rusher only, and not because like I think people are gonna get really, really close. I just think the distribution of the rushing yards is gonna be a lot. Like, I think Carry-On and Swift both are gonna have 800+ yards. So I don't know if either one will be able to get to 1,000 just because the other one will have the ball and guys like Huntley will get some yards too. But I don't know if we'll have that 1,000-yard rusher. And the last reason is because I think the tight ends are going to get a lot of I know play action helps the tight ends, but I know the tight ends are going to get a lot of work, and that's just going to take away some of those carries that we will be giving to the running back because we call them passing plays. With all the passing weapons, I still think passing is going to lead this team, but I think it's going to be another running back besides the top two that gets a lot of yards, which will cause the other guys not to be over 1,000.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there, man. I'm with you there. Like, we just talked about Huntley possibly getting a bunch of carries, and that's, it's aside from Ty, that's aside from Bo, and obviously the two main guys. But I need somebody to say yes, man. I need somebody to say we're going to have 1,000-yard rusher. Right or wrong, what do you think, man? Are we going to have 1,000-yard rusher this season?
I don't think so, just because I think the Lions are going to have a running back by committee approach, but I could definitely see us having 1,000-yard rusher if, say, Carry-On got really hot in the early in the season. I could see him, getting more carries at that point and maybe getting 1,000 yards. But I just don't see it because I think we're going to split carries between all the running backs.
Okay, so Ron, you said forget what Real said about. He needs somebody to say yes. He's like, yeah, no, it ain't gonna be me.
I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, if you say all purpose, if you say all purpose, I think we could probably get somebody to hit that the 1,000-yard all purpose at running back. But it's gonna be running back by committee. I think it'd just be hard for any of us to say that we get a 1,000-yard rusher and running back by committee. Yo, we going to the NFC Championship game, people. Y'all don't even understand what that means. If we are able to get a 1,000-yard rusher while still doing running back by committee, oh my God, Jesus.
Hey, Luke, I got a question. So, do you think one of the coach running backs will have 1,000 yards?
Yes.
And it would be more than one. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
and listen, to answer the question, the general review. Okay, this is a twofold question. I somewhat instigated fights, but indirectly. People would get into fight because somebody would say something to somebody else, and I would laugh hard as hell. And that was what started the fight. But I didn't instigate it like, you ain't going to hit him or you bad. I was always the peacemaker. But if somebody says something funny, I will die laughing, and that somehow creates fights.
Yeah. Somebody has a really funny thing to say here. Here he's Andrews. He says, Andrew, you got a master's degree in communication or journalism or something? Well, actually, I won't reveal you like that. Never mind.
Oh, good, man. I do have a master's degree though, so kudos to you, man.
In something related to communication. I'll just say that. Say that. But anyway, okay. So Andrew, did you give your thoughts on the question?
No.
What do you think there's going to be a 1,000-yard rush, or are you with everybody on the panel that we're just going to split it up too much?
I mean, I do think it's possible. When you look at that Joique Bell, Reggie Bush season, they were there, and when you look at Kerryon Johnson, DeAndre Swift, do they have the potential, one of them, to hit 1,000 yards? Yes. Do I think it's going to be Kerryon? Probably not, just because of, drafting DeAndre Swift and everything, and he is a little bit more dynamic than Kerryon in the injuries. But if we use more than two running backs on a game-to-game basis, I don't think so. If we focus on just two and one of them has a primary role and then the others are switched out, then I definitely think we could hit 1,000-yard rushing season by one of our running backs.
Okay, listen, I'm going to flip the script on all you guys because we are going to have a 1,000-yard rusher this year, all right? And you want to know why? It's because Kerryon Johnson is probably going to get hurt, okay? And that's going to force us to use DeAndre Swift a lot more. I truly think this. And with Bevel's previous history, he doesn't play this game of running back by committee. I don't care if Bob Quinn wants it. I don't care if Patricia wants it. Bevel knows you feed that hot hand. And this year, DeAndre Swift is going to get hot. You want to know why? Because the last time, I brought this up before, when was the last time off seasons were canceled? Back in 2010, back when we had the strike. Back when we had the strike, okay? And guess who was playing together, practicing together back in Georgia? It was Stafford and Calvin Johnson. What happened? We came out that year, and their chemistry was on point, and you could see it. They were just he was throwing to Calvin these perfect throws, perfect catches, 5,000 yards, the whole deal. You know what happened that year in 2011. So this is going to be the same type of deal. You see Stafford in Atlanta playing with DeAndre Swift, training together. They can't, have official practices and stuff like that, but they are there building that chemistry right now. You know that Stafford's been watching his games at Georgia. You know that he knows what Swift knows how to do. And guess what? Swift's going to come in. He's going to ball out. And Bevel's going to feed that hot hand, and we're going to have our first 1,000-yard rusher in 7 centuries. It's going to be amazing. Okay.
Can I ask you a question, though, Real?
Yeah.
All right. I'm just curious. If that happens, like Kerryon gets hurt, and then Swift, you think the Lions still going to be committed to Kerryon? Just a question.
Committed to Kerryon? Oh, are you saying that as a joke? Because really?
I want Andrew to bring his A game on this debate. I can't wait.
That wasn't even the debate that you guys were going to have. You guys could have 2 debates.
Luke is just heated, man. He's just heated, all right?
Listen, I got to have fun with Andrew because, listen, me and Andrew, we've been trying to figure out what we're going to debate for the longest, and we finally got it. The universe is working in a strange way. I am so geared up to prove this point. It's going to be a hard one, but like always, I'll rise to the occasion.
Yeah. After the first debate, after the debate me and you had, Luke, when Andrew was the commentator, I was talking to him afterwards, and he was like, "Man, it was so hard to just sit back. Let me at him." And I was like, "Man, all right, you got the next one, bro. All right, go ahead." So it's gonna be fun. Okay, but John Stone, he has a question for us in the chat. He says, "Why do you guys think Coleman was bad last year? He played out of place because of injuries. When the team started the season, he was the best slot in the NFL." Does anybody have a rebuttal to that one?
Well, I'm the only one who defends Justin Coleman, and I stand by that. When you put him on outside, it's terrible. But if he plays slot corner, he's top tier. But I don't know. I
don't think anybody would disagree here.
But let's be honest though. Let's be honest. You call somebody bad based on what they did in the season, not one game, not 2 games, not 3, or not 4. What they did in the season, and for a season. When they asked him to do some things that he wasn't comfortable with, he got exposed. But a lot of it wasn't necessarily his fault. It was no real pass rush. It was nothing that can help him. He's just out there running with somebody. And I don't care who you is. I don't care if you're Deion Sanders, Darrell Revis, Champ Bailey, Charles Woodson, Patrick Peterson. I don't care who you think. You can't run with nobody all day. It's too much. So I think that's why why people say he looked bad. But I think one of the reasons if I say he looked bad is because if all you can do is play slot, I don't really want you no way. I need you to be able to get out there sometimes and handle your own out there. And I think it was a matter of just adjusting to the scheme and on the fact that they didn't have no pass rush to help the back end out.
Yeah, I don't know. Luke, listen, if you're really good at the slot, lock it down. Why not? We have other guys for the outside. And if you have to step up because of injuries, that's one thing. But you're the one that's the biggest opponent of using snacks with higher percentage of snaps, right? It's a weird tongue twister. But you are the one that's saying, we shouldn't have used snacks on third downs. We shouldn't have done this and made him a worse player. He was playing out of position. Well, that's like saying, Snacks, if you can't do it all, then I don't want you. No, you're good at your one job. Justin Coleman, he's great at being a slot corner, the nickel corner. Why not let him be great at that? I think he's a great cornerback, and I'm glad we paid him that money. Lock that shit down so that when we have guys on the outside that are healthy, then we know that nickel spot is that slot spot is secured.
I agree with that.
Good point. Listen, I can't argue with logic.
You're gonna have a hard time with this debate, then, Luke.
All right, Andrew, just relax. I hear you.
All right. General View says, Luke, do you think we'll have more of a Minnesota bevel offense or more of a Seattle bevel offense?
Minnesota. Minnesota, they had Brett Favre. I believe they had Adrian Peterson, and they had another dude behind Adrian Peterson. I can't think of his name. It's something. I forget. It was another running back. And then they had
Seattle.
They was, but look how they was using him though, and it was effective with how they was using Adrian Peterson. I think you're going to see that where they're going to run the ball at you. Once you start coming up, they'll dot you up with the tight end, and then when the tight end start getting some attention, they'll kill you down the field. That's what I think they're going to do. In Seattle, they was a strictly run first, keep the ball short, but they had plays that was designed for the quarterback to take off and run. It was all this confusion with RPOs and stuff. I don't see us getting into that with Stafford. I just don't think that's the style of play that you want to try to do with Stafford anyway.
Okay, that's fair. Hey, Broken Lion 69 says this. In the history of the Lions, what free agent do you regret them signing? I'm going to go to you, Rachel. What do you think about this?
I am trying I'm having one of those moments where I'm like, I can't think of a single free agent they've ever signed, but I will. Hold on.
Listen, no, that's not a question. I knew mine immediately.
Go ahead, Luke.
Scott Mitchell. Oh my God. Scott Mitchell had that half decent season over there in Miami, and the Lions went crazy, thought they done found something special, paid him all that money, and all he did was come here, pout, cuss, and suck. I could not stand Scott Mitchell. That was a horrible signing in free agency. It made no point. It was just dumb. And all he did was took money and left for nothing. No, Scott Mitchell for me, hands down.
Okay. Rachel, please.
I think I'll go Rick Wagner.
Ooh.
I mean, he just did not pan out, and
Rachel,
we paid him a lot.
Yes, you took mine. Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm
It
just
was-
saying. It's smart.
It was like
it's
one of
good
the
to hear.
only two that popped into my head, but I was like, yeah, we had high hopes for him when they signed him, and he just did not live up to the expectations and got too much money.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna throw one out there for you guys. Jesse James, man, what the hell, man?
Chill on, hey man, chill on Jesse James. That's not his fault, man. He lost Stafford, bro.
You're right. It's not his fault that they signed him and then went out and spent the number 8 overall pick on a damn tight end. What the? All right. Right or wrong? Who do you got? Who is the free agent that you regret the Lions signing?
Probably Rick Wagner. I agree with Rachel, but I haven't been watching football as long as most of you, so I'm not super knowledgeable in a lot of fridges that they signed in the past, but Rick Wagner was a pretty bad one.
Okay. All right. Fair. Anybody else have another one before we move on? All right.
I probably got too many to be fair. I can go down a whole Jeff Garcia. All right, what was that? Dante Culpepper. Couldn't stand that one either.
Culpepper's a good one.
Oh my God.
Man.
I couldn't stand him when they picked up. No. Listen, we can go outside of quarterbacks. What was that cornerback? It's gonna come to me. Hold on. God, he was terrible. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but I can see his face as clear as day, just looking stupid every time somebody caught the ball on him. It's coming to me. When it comes to me, I'll let you know. Give me a second.
Nevin Lawson? No, he was drafted, I think. Okay, but we're gonna go on to the next topic right now. So Danathy Goodwin, he says, or she says, what would be the tight end that could replace Jesse James? I'm just gonna take this one real quick. We're not gonna replace Jesse James because we would lose money by cutting him. So we're not gonna replace him. And like JMO said, we honestly did not give him the opportunity. Like I shit on him, but really it's because we're not giving him the opportunities. So it's like he's just a waste of money. That's the real reason I don't like him as a pickup. But I mean, as a guy, I don't really know him. You know what I mean? But do any of you guys disagree? Do you guys think we should replace Jesse James? Do you think that there's somebody out there that we can replace him with?
I don't think he needs to be replaced. I think you need to use him. I mean, nobody takes. If you go out and somebody give you a perfectly good hammer, you don't decide to just take the hammer and toss it out because you didn't use it. The hammer's still good. It's not the hammer fault you didn't use it. They're not using Jesse James. They're not using the tight ends. That falls on Darrell Bevel. That's one of the things I've been watching with him, and that's one of the things I picked up last year for all the good things he did. That was one thing I said to myself: where was our tight end play? You know, and so that's on the offensive coordinator.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you there. C. Perry says, do you think we will keep all 5 running backs? This one's got to go to you, Luke, because you're thinking that, Huntley is jumping up boards, doing crazy stuff. So what do you think? You think they're keeping 5?
I think Kerryon stays. I think, and you got to understand they all do something different, but I think Kerryon stays because he's a good patient runner. He's a good running back. Obviously, they took DeAndre Swift. He ain't going nowhere. I think Ty is out of here. He didn't show no value in his return game abilities. And at running back, his vision was lacking, in my opinion, based on what I saw. So I think he's out of there. I think Huntley jumps into that slot because he is going to be used like a utility knife, like they did with J.D. McKissick and all them other people. And then the last person I think going to stay is Bo Scarborough because he showed that he can run between the tackles.
Okay. All right. Hey, I'm with you there, but I don't know about Ty. He was pulling a Jeep in a parking lot, man. How could you say that?
I can pull a Jeep in a parking lot. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
Luke.
I'm just saying, think about this. You're doing something that's already been done years ago. Everybody, I remember this Rocky the movie where he went in the freezer, was punching the meat. The meat didn't do nothing to him, but guess what? It looked good on the film, and him pulling the truck looked good for the social media. I don't care about him pulling no truck. Everybody can pull the trucks in the NFL. The kicker can do it. You can do it. Put it in neutral. Rachel can do it. There's nothing special.
I love when Luke gets mad. All right.
You gotta look at the investment. They're more invested in Huntley and Agnew. It's just gonna come down to that.
Okay, yeah, that's fair, man. Hey, Harry Zander says, random question. Didn't Ford Field record one of the highest decibel noises, top 5 in NFL history? I don't know. You guys know this one?
No, that's a no.
Yeah, I don't know about that one for real. All right. You guys see a question on the board that you could shout out? Harry Sanders wants to debate with you, Luke.
About what? Why everybody
Because you be saying some wild stuff sometimes.
Listen,
This was from a long time. This could have been any topic. We have no idea.
I just want to know what the topic is. I'll take the debate. I think it's fun, man. I think it's fun.
The topic is: should Matthew Stafford have won a playoff game?
Oh, listen, I don't already prove that one. I don't prove that 2 times over. I don't understand that one. We don't prove that.
I'm just playing with you, man. I gotta throw some shade. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I ain't mad at you, but no, I mean, listen, Harry Sanders, you know how to reach me, man. Let me know what you want to debate about. I don't think you really want this smoke, but if you do, let's do it. Let's get this thing going and get this debate going.
All right. Hey, J-Mo reminded me something, man. We got some more questions that I completely blanked on from the panel itself. So, J-Mo, this one's from you, so we're going to go to you first, man. Do you think that the Lions missed the opportunity to improve the pass rush this year?
Big miss with a capital M. I had a lot of problems with them not addressing it in free agency. We spent most of our money on Jamie Collins, obviously. Jamie Collins is a very solid player. I'm not mad we spent it on him, but I thought we would get a pass rusher. And then so I'm like, okay, you didn't do that. So you look into the draft. You only got Nick Williams and Danny Shelton. Look into the draft. I'm thinking first couple rounds, at least the first couple rounds, you get a pass rusher. You chose not to do that. Then you got Julian Okwara, who's okay with coming off an injury. And then you passed up on some people later on in the draft. We still got a big need at defensive tackle, and I mean defensive end. Like I'm really not excited about Romeo Okwara being our defensive end. Like maybe he'll play better this year, but I'm not excited about that. And I think we need a pass rush and just D-line help. Like I think we need a couple D-linemen actually. And I think the Lions missed a chance. They still have a chance to maybe get a linebacker, but I just don't know what they were doing, not addressing the pass rush. And the pass rush to me should have been the thing invested in the most, along with the offensive line. And instead they chose like the secondary and running back. So I don't know what they were thinking about that. I'm very concerned about this defensive line and what they're going to do. I have no faith in them.
Yeah, I got to tag on to that too, man, because I completely agree. This was our biggest problem last year. You know, whether it be from scheme related or be from, not the right personnel involved, whatever it was, our pass rush was awful. I've never seen a pass rush this bad in my entire life. Okay. And I can name one specific opportunity that they missed. They didn't draft Bradley Anae from Utah. Okay?
I knew you were going to say that. I knew that was coming.
Does anybody disagree? Does anybody think?
No, I mean, to me,
I wanted Bradley Anae over Huntley. We already went over this, but it is what it is, man.
I do want to add something.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in on nobody. But to be honest, I wanted to say hats off to J-Mo for that question, because that's a brilliant question, and I like that he do it. And as soon as I heard you ask the question, I was like, "Do farts stink? Do fat people sweat in strange places?" Yeah. They missed a huge opportunity, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, how is it possible? How is this possible that this is a good question, but like anybody who say no, they didn't miss a good opportunity, what are you talking about? Like, who's the marquee guy? You gonna tell me Trey Flowers that marquee guy? Yeah.
We're hoping he is. We're hoping he could.
Kudos to J-Mo for that one.
Yeah, Andrew, you said you wanted to jump in for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. And just to be devil's advocate, we will be getting Deshaun Hand, and we will have Austin Bryant potentially. And we brought in Danny Shelton, Nick Williams. And if you watch Danny Shelton's tape, the dude can pass rush. He can 100% collapse the pocket from the middle. But I do agree, I would have been nice to get a top tier defensive end or defensive tackle in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all with you there. Hey, Truth Fella says right now, DSA, has anyone done film study on Austin Bryant? He played relatively well in college, and he has really been overlooked coming into this season? Well, I mean,
I'll
that's
do
because-
one.
Okay,
I'll
go
do
ahead.
one. No, I'll do
I
one.
don't know if he's been overlooked. It's just we can't really talk about what he's going to do when he hasn't done anything. We have to see him get on the field.
And believe it or not, we were all ecstatic when we drafted him. Like
We were.
like there was we was really high on him. But if you want a film study, I'll definitely do that for you, and do the film study of him and see what's going on. Now, understand this: when I do this film study, don't kill me if I tell you the truth on what I see on this film. Just don't kill me. That's all I'm gonna say.
This one's going to Luke. Should they have drafted Ed Oliver instead of Hawkinson last year?
Absolutely not. Listen, y'all gotta understand something. Ed Oliver went to an already stacked defense, and you can remember him in one signature game.
Let me stop you there. Hawkinson came to an already stacked offense, and you could only remember him affect one game. Boom!
Yeah.
No, I'm muting you. No.
And you can't compare our offense to that defense, man.
That is
Hey,
so.
no, I'm just waiting.
If he didn't stop me, I was just getting ready to say the same thing happened with Hawkinson, where he was underutilized, and just like Ed was, but they were both underutilized. They both had one game where they stood out. So you essentially get the same player. So, but Ed Oliver, in my opinion, now who just got arrested. No, it looks like you made the right decision because your guy is not going to get in no trouble for getting arrested. That guy is.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. General View says the Silverdome, I believe, not Ford Field. That's definitely right, man. That Silverdome would get so loud. It was crazy. The acoustics in that building were illegal. I'm just gonna say that. There was another question in the from the panel that I want to bring up as well. And that is this: what are the holes on this team that still need to be fixed? What do you think, right or wrong? I mean, we pretty much revamped the entire defense. There's a lot of moves made this year, but there might be some holes. What do you think? Are there holes still?
I mean, I just think the pass rush needs to show more, as you guys were kind of saying earlier. We just didn't see a whole lot from them last year. It was a very bad pass rush. And I know we got Nick Williams. I know we got Danny Shelton and Julian Okwara. And I know that Romeo Okwara had 7.5 sacks in 2018. But until I see the pass rush get better, I can't say that it will be better. And I still think that there are some players out there that the Lions could look at going to get to fill those holes.
Okay, all right, facts. Hey, who's got next on that? Andrew, why don't you go next? What do you think that there are holes that still need to be fixed, and what are those holes?
There is a lot of holes and questions on our team that are uncertain. We could have easily addressed them because you never know from season to season, but please, for the love of God, open up some holes in the run game. I am so sick and tired of my running back getting met at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage or maybe 1 yard past the line of scrimmage. Please. Just do your job. Bill Belichick, man, do your job and open up a damn run game for my running backs because I am sick and tired of Stafford having to do every single thing to get us a win.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Both the trenches, man. The trenches, they're not
they're
not 100% secure. Does anybody have another opinion? Luke, Rachel, JMO, you guys got an opinion?
No, I don't. Like I said, these are all good questions that I think make sense, and I think that if you look at it, you know. A lot of stuff I've been thinking about, like, who come up with these questions? Because they be good. But I've been thinking, like, do the referees cheat the Detroit Lions? And yes, these answers are easy for me. And it's like, okay. It's like, okay, we know this stuff. And it's like, yeah, they got so many more holes to fill. They got to fill a linebacker spot. I'm not buying this Reggie Ragland BS. I mean, y'all not going to convince me that he's the right move. He's not. We still got Christian Jones, a guy that I constantly seen in film in the wrong spot. And how do I know he's in the wrong spot? Because you should not be coming from your spot all the way over to somebody else's spot and just be in the midst. You shouldn't see two people in the same spot. That's bad for business.
Okay. Rachel, you got anything to add to that? Or JMO? Either one?
I'm kind of with everybody. You know, JMO mentioned before, like, there's questions at defensive tackle. Like, the Lions were good about filling holes, but the issue is just where we filled the holes. A lot of the players are unproven, or, it's the whole on paper versus how it comes together on the field thing. Because you can take a look at everything that they did and say, yeah, they filled a lot of holes and filled where it was necessary. But do we know how that's going to come together? And, in these past couple of years, I've just stopped. I've really not been relying on what it looks like on paper, because every time I get excited about the paper, they get out onto the field and I'm like, well, damn, that's not how I thought that was going to
Right.
go.
Right.
Facts.
100% agree. JMO, this was also your question. So you got something to add on this? There's clearly holes on the team.
I was going to talk about the fact that we only have 2 good linebackers on the team. I'm not going to say Jared Davis is bad, but it is up in the air. I have to see what he does for me to evaluate him. But after Jelani Tavai and Jamie Collins, who are the linebackers? Jared Davis, Christian Jones, who needs to lose his job, Reggie Ragland, Elijah Lee, a special teams guy, Jalen Reeves-Maven, a special teams guy. Like, our linebacking core is glaringly weak, in my opinion. I
think you're right. I think you're right. I agree with you, J-Mo. Except for Collins.
Yeah. I know Okora and Austin Bryant will spend time there, but to me, that's only because of the 3-4 defense. Sometimes, though, that extra outside, weak side linebacker, they're not really playing linebacker. They're really playing, I'm going to cover this running back, I might drop back, or I'm pass rushing. They're not playing a traditional linebacker role. And so it won't really affect it. They'll be mainly pass rushers and guys who's supposed to take up space and stop the run. Well, we don't have no linebackers in the middle of the field or on the outside to actually cover. So, I mean, Jamie Collins is our only coverage linebacker at this point, and it's not like he's the best at that in the league. And obviously, our pass rush needs a lot of assistance. So it's just very uncertain there. But mainly our linebackers, I'm really not confident in our linebackers.
I don't even give Jamie Collins as one of the 2 good linebackers, because Jamie Collins outside of New England was not good. So that's another one.
He'll be fine over here. I don't think.
But it's still up in the air, because you got to still take into account that outside of New England, he wasn't good.
Yeah, but New England, he was really good.
Yeah, I don't expect him to be what he was last year, because I think their defense will be better. But I expect him to be our best linebacker this year. So unless Jelani Tavai breaks out, but
I'm in agreement with that. I highly expect him to be our best linebacker, but I can't disagree with any of you guys. I just have to echo that, the trenches, are not 100% secured, and not every team is, but like, man, as soon as injuries hit, then you're really starting to see like, oh man, we really didn't have depth here, or like, clearly we saw that last year. But okay, going on, Harry Zander said he found it. He brought it up. 128.1 decibel noise was recorded when the Lions scored a winning touchdown versus the Redskins in 2016. That's top 10 in NFL history. That's awesome. Wow. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I remember Manbeats Morris, who we had on the last Tuesday. He was at that game, and he talked about how loud it was when we scored that touchdown. I mean, and that was a crazy game, Man, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and 2016, that was the year of the fourth quarter comeback. So, man, I bet that year was just wild in general for the Lions. All right, so Devin99 says, if next season is terrible, do we draft a quarterback in the first round? There's a lot of good ones. Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Jamie Newman, and Trey Lance are all nice. What do you guys think about those quarterbacks?
Yes. Yep.
I was about to say, I'll take Justin Fields, because we're not getting Trevor Lawrence. So,
Yeah, hopefully we're not bad enough to get Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, you're not going to be that.
I just think that at the end of the day, and I made this statement last show, that I think that his time is running low, and they're going to draft another quarterback to start the process for taking over, and they should. And yes, am I going to miss Matthew Stafford? Like hell. I saw those 16 quarterbacks before Matthew Stafford. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Witnessed the patheticness that they did. They couldn't lift nothing up and couldn't do anything. And it's going to suck. But if you're telling me that we suck this year, yeah, they're going to get a new quarterback, because who's going to come in as a new head coach and say, I'm just going to keep Stafford?
Right. Hey, I'm with you, man. Hey, right or wrong, I'm going to throw this one to you. Yu-Gi-Oh! Rex says, do you think that the Lions can go on a 3-game win streak, I assume, this season? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that there's a big stretch between weeks 4 and 12 or something, that all those games are very winnable. None of the teams last year in that stretch are amazing. None of them are like 13-3 caliber. I think the Lions can go on a 3-game run a couple times this season. Honestly, I think there's a lot of winnable games in our schedule.
No, I'm 100% with you there. I think that that's a fact for sure. I think we could definitely see some streaks this season. Shed 216 JF. Okay, he says, this is a great question. What current QB in the NFL could elevate the Lions to a playoff win? Wow.
I got this. Hold
Go
up.
ahead, Jimmo.
Look, there isn't a if they got this team, there isn't a quarterback because you're not gonna have no run game. You're gonna get sacked 40 times a year, and your defense is gonna be ranked 30th. So, and your coach is gonna be terrible. So
Ding, get that man a golden nugget. Yeah, man. Tell him, Jimmo, repeat it again for the hard of hearing.
Because look, I just look at the other guys because we're talking about these elite guys. So I'm gonna just mention 3 of them: Lamar, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers comes here, he'll be injured by week 4. Let's throw that out the window now. The receivers will be great, and we will score a lot of points, but you've seen when the Packers have a bad defense, Aaron Rodgers can't carry them, especially not in the playoffs. Come on, if the defense is not there, and then you have Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if Patrick Mahomes is used to getting sacked 40 times in the season. I mean, he injured himself on a quarterback sneak. So, and if he gets injured, we're losing every single game. You're not going to be able to come back to a team where your backup can go 3-1. You know what I'm saying? And then we got like Lamar Jackson. He's not going to be able to do it by himself because the one things that the Ravens have is they have a great defense, and they have great coaching, and they have great special teams, and they have great running backs to pair with Lamar Jackson.
Forget those running backs. Don't you forget the running backs.
Right now, I know what I'm saying. And they got a good offensive line. I mean, they got the whole package. But yeah, I don't think if you want to take Stafford off the team and still win, if that's your thing, well, give whatever quarterback is going to come here a great defense, and we will win a playoff game. But give them this same team, it's not going to work out. I mean, you got Taylor Decker acting like people not there. Everson Griffin probably be a Hall of Famer because of Taylor Decker, with all them sacks he was getting. So it's just, I don't know.
Hey, that was really well said. Does anybody have anything to add on to that?
Nah, listen, I'm trying to figure out whether I mail him his gold nugget because this right here was spot on. And the reality is, you look at all those quarterbacks, and I'm telling you, go down the line and every other quarterback in this league, every single one of them, and tell me who comes here with this level of coaching, this level of run game, this level of defense, and get us a playoff win. Who does that? Who's the quarterback in this league right now who goes to the 0-16 team and take them to the next step?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Hey, Austin Nicholas, he said Russell Wilson. Y'all tripping?
Russell Wilson not doing nothing without no defense. What you talking about?
Hold on,
Seattle's been top 15 in defense since Russell Wilson's been their quarterback.
Right, and on top of that, Russell Wilson had Marshawn Lynch. When Marshawn Lynch left, they didn't have no running back. They drafted Rashard Penny. He didn't do much. He was hurt. They had that other dude, Trey Carson. It was like and then they read up, got some more running backs, got back to running the ball, gave him a tight end, finally started giving him big receivers, and he always had the defense. And like he said, when the defense died, they died in the water too. Russell Wilson ain't coming to no.
Pete Carroll. You got Pete Carroll as well. Like, what we talking about?
Man, bro.
All right, guys. That's all the questions we have for you today from the panel, from the chat. You guys were awesome. You guys were very active. I love to see it. But now we are going to get into our final thoughts before we end this stream. So why don't we start off with Rachel? What's going on, Rachel? Tell the people your final thoughts.
Well, guys, as always, thank you for being great in the chat. You guys have been coming up with some really good questions, and the panel's had some too. I was so excited to sit down today and focus on some football. Always remember there's I think we hit like close to 40 people in the chat. So make sure you throw the video a like on your way out. Hit the little notification bell to make sure you can see when they put out more videos. Subscribe to everybody on the panel, definitely to Right or Wrong. Right or Wrong, thanks for coming on. And as always, one pride.
All right, JMO, Heart of the City. What do you say to the people in the chat?
I did want to respond to one comment. He said, "You don't know, bro. Go look at the numbers when Beast Mode left. Wilson was the running game." But I didn't bring up the offense. Luke did. I brought up the defense. They've been a top 10 defense since Russell Wilson's been there. They've never been below 15. So the Seahawks would, I mean, a 30th ranked defense. Well, I don't think Russell Wilson can carry that. I don't think anybody can carry that. It's proof. But for the final thoughts, I will say that this has been fun. We had a very heated argument about some craziness that people say sometimes, but this is what we do. We got a lot of opinions and whatnot. I do have a video out breaking down Bob Quinn and if he's been a good GM or not. You're gonna want to check that out. And I gotta say, the Lions have a lot of holes, and I'm still concerned. But hopefully, that we can get back in the swing of things with training camp coming back. Now, I didn't say this last show, and I'm very upset, but I'm saying it now. Sign Kenny Golladay before I lose my mind.
All right, JMO. Right or wrong, you are now a series regular. So why don't you say your final words to the people in the chat?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to come on a couple of times. I really enjoyed it both times. You know, this is quite a fun thing to do on a Thursday night.
You got to come back.
Yeah, I'll come back as often if you guys let me. So,
hey, got to come back.
I'll definitely be back. But, you know, this is a really cool thing to do with all of you and talk football. So I'm very appreciative to everybody that just is part of this. This is awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, we appreciate having you, man. JMO, do you want to get on this guy one more time in the chat?
Man, look, all I'm gonna say is they still won a playoff game, and I'll say it again. What's his name? Austin Nicholas. They still had a good defense. They still had good special teams. They still had Pete Carroll. It's not about what he carried on offense. Stafford can throw for 5,000 yards and 41 touchdowns, but if your offense is trash, your offense is trash. Like, he was leading the league in touchdowns when we were 3-4. Why? Because we gave up 30 points multiple times. So I'm just saying, it's not about what Wilson would do on offense. That's not what it's about. It's about the fact that his defense was still great, his coaching was still great, his special teams was still great. So yeah.
I think another thing that's slept on is the fact that it's just the continuity of the team. You know, when Russell Wilson got there, he's had the same coaching regime his entire time, so he's able to build off of his success of each year. Stafford, whenever there's a bad, year and they blow up the whole team, like his whole supporting cast is usually gone. There's a new coordinator, entirely new offense, new coach. Everything's different, and you start back from zero. And people overlook that, but that's a big problem as well. But we're done. But so Andrew, say your piece to the people in the chat. Say your final words, man.
Yeah, so pretty much stay tuned because I'm going to destroy Luke very soon and show y'all that if you actually do your research, you can win a debate. And it pretty much comes down to knowing your stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna go before you, Luke, because I like when you end it with your beautiful quotes. So I'm gonna say this, Andrew. If you need tutoring from somebody that's beating Luke in a debate, I'm right here.
Wow. Okay.
I just got to say thank you to everybody here listening, rocking with us. You guys are amazing. You guys have been amazing in the chat all night long. You guys are so supportive. Please show your support to everybody on the panel today, right or wrong, the guests, and especially just everybody in the DSA. Just support us all, man. You guys are awesome. And we're stuck in quarantine, so we got a lot of content. Everybody's pumping out content. You guys are all Lions fans. Click on each person's link in the description. We're all there. Subscribe to us all, and definitely check out that website as well. But Luke, finish with your final thoughts, bro.
Hey, as always, it is such a pleasure to have all you on and talk football with y'all. We had a lot of disagreement today. We laughed about it. It was fun, and I appreciate that. To the people who listen, y'all are rock stars, you rap stars, country stars, whatever your thing is, you a star because you showed up and you showed up in force, and it was there, and we appreciate the support. So today I was thinking about who am I going to use for a positive quote. And thank God I got children because the things that they ask me to watch always give me an inspiration. And today's quote comes from one of my favorite movies, Kung Fu Panda 2. So that's right. I'm talking about Soothsayer from Kung Fu Panda 2, who says, your story may not have a happy beginning, but that does not make you who you are. It is the rest of it. You and only you choose who you want to be. See, this is the beautiful thing about it. People can put as many tags on you as they would love to put on you. They can say you are not smart. They can say you are short. They can say you can't jump high. The only thing that matters is if you believe it. So here's my challenge to you today. My challenge is for you to not only disregard what they say, but take it and use it as fuel. When you feel like you are running out of energy and can't run that extra step, you don't want to get up and work out for that day, you don't want to eat healthy because you want to keep putting it off, you're lacking discipline, remember there's somebody waiting for you to fail. And when you take that moment of remembering that they're waiting for you to fail, remember that the only person who writes your story is you. The question is, are you going to write one that's going to be of epic proportions, or are you going to write one that's going to be as tragic as the simple fact that you accepted that belief that they gave you? With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you subscribe to all the members of the DSA. And as always, please be ready for me to put a nice dent in Andrew's debate. And don't be no chump. Please do your research.